McCulley, Suffolk. He has been involved with the sheep industry his entire life. As a college student, he fitted and showed sheep for several prominent breeders and then became the farm manager of Superior Farms, a Pole Dorset sheep operation in Oklahoma. Evan is a proud graduate of Oklahoma State. Go Pokes! Assisting us in the ring today with the Natural Colored Show is Zoe Amons of Vermont. Zoe is the national junior runner-up in the Miss Agriculture USA contest. She's an advocate for agriculture. Let's welcome Zoe Amons to your Natural Colored Show.
Well, good morning. Pleasure to be with you again this morning for our Natural Colored Show. It looks like we're going to have a nice start here with these senior rams. Some variations floating through them, but I think at the end of the day, there's a bunch of good ones here. All 7 of them, just awfully nice sheep. Get into their fleeces. There's some differences, and maybe some maturity patterns. I think the combination sheep on top here for us, one that when we set him into motion, I think he's the soundest one about what he does with his feet and legs. He's up on his toes, maybe just a nickel better than a couple of them that follow in behind him. He's got some rib and some body to him, some size and scale. And then you get into his fleece. There's some fineness there. It's pretty uniform from front to rear. I think just an awfully nice leadoff ram here for us. Big Ram here comes in second. Again, I think a nice soft fleece about him as well. He's not quite as tidy on those front wheels as we have in that leadoff sheep, but certainly some stretch and some style about him. And get into his fleece, I think that's an awfully nice one. I think he gets the nod over the next one's fleece, that white variation and that 1 and 3. That fleece structure probably is just not as good as those first 2. He's a profiling ram, though, one that if you're going to put some pattern on him, got a big hip in him and he's got some shape about him. I like him quite a bit. If you want to just use him from a structural standpoint, I think you can. I'll ding him into third today just from a fleece standpoint compared to those first 2, but real high quality one there in third. A little smaller package here in 4. Again, very soft about his fleece, very good in terms of fleece structure. Just gives up maybe a little bit of that wow factor in terms of dimension and look compared to those first 3 rams, but certainly a nice piece there. And then we round out the top 5 with a real level designed one that maybe is in maybe the younger category of against a couple of these rams. Not quite as mature today for us, maybe just a tick finer in his feature, but again, his fleece structure is very good. He's very uniform from front to rear. I think a nice class of senior rams. Let's put our hands together. Congratulations.
Next class will be junior ram lambs. Placing on the class of senior ram lambs in the Natural Colored Show, first place goes to entry 1946, Little Oaks Livestock 2525 Mariner. Andrew and Emmy Huckowitz, Hadley, Massachusetts. That ram weighing 274. Second place to entry 1941, Pines Inn Natural Colored 2461 Charger. Jamie Lynn Widman, Bel Air, Maryland. That ram weighing 238. Third place, first in the junior show to 1943, Wolf 24237 Special Reserve. Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. That ram weighing 251. Fourth place to 1945, Emma Minor, Sanbornton, New Hampshire. Fifth place to entry 1947, Fox Hollow Farm, Lindsay Drum, Valletie, New York. Sixth place to 1948, Kara Jingaluski of Southwick, Massachusetts. Seventh place to 1944, Fox Hollow Farm, Lindsay Drum, Valletie, New York. Natural colored sheep in general consist of different breeds or combinations of those breeds. Generally, the breeds are wool type breeds, but that isn't to say some percentage can't be a meat type breed. The natural colored designation was the result of many breed registries not allowing natural colored sheep in their breeds to be registered. However, today, a few wool breed registries have amended their bylaws to allow for natural colored animals to also be registered. In the meantime, a natural colored registry was formed and is very active today. So here's the first trivia question for the natural colored. In 2005, that's 20 years ago, there were two natural colored shows. There was a long wool show and a fine medium show. In the long wool show, who was the Illinois breeder that had the reserve champion ram, champion ewe, first in both flock classes, plus winning the get of sire class? Amy got that really quick. I think she's looking over my shoulder at the answers. It was Jonathan Cruz of Effingham, Illinois, because as I stated earlier, remember some breeds were not allowing those colored sheep to register within their breeds at that time.
Real nice set of junior rams here. We got a variation again, maybe of some size and scale differences for us. And again, I think just at the end of the day, a really nice set. Chuck has a little ram lamb down there that's got a tremendous fleece on him. I told him to bring him back for that best fleece deal because it really is nice. And that sheep maybe just gives up a little bit in terms of moderation. I think we use a little smaller ram here to lead off with, but structurally, I think he's just really, really good in terms of what he does with his feet and legs. He sits right up on his toes like they're supposed to. He's level in his design. He's got a big top shape for as young and as green as he is. And then you get into his fleece, and it's pretty good as well. I think one that in motion, I think his balance is extremely good. He holds his shoulder and his neck the way we like him to do. And I think just an awfully neat package there, even though he's just a tick moderate and maybe just a tick young for us. The next one, I think, is just a real solid sheep as well. That one's got a tremendous fleece from front to rear with a little fineness about him. Again, got a little extra foot size about him. And then in motion, I think he balances up extremely good as well. The third ram comes to us, the big one, maybe the tall one if we're going to measure him. And I think maybe as a yearling ram, he'll come together. He's just a little bit piecey today in motion. Right behind his shoulder wants to open up just a nickel, but some nice pieces about him for sure. Some grow, some stretch, and some style, and yet stays sound on his feet and legs for us. I think this is a nice one to go third. A little shorter package here in four, but again, you get into that fleece. That staple length is nice and long and easy to read. I think that one has got a really nice fleece. He gets a little bit plainer in terms of his just look and maybe a show ring appeal compared to those ones ahead of him, but he's got some stoutness about him and certainly some rib. And then working at the top five here, real long and level one here. Again, maybe one that maybe doesn't square up quite as good in his hip structure as a couple of them do, but certainly in motion, he's very sound. I think a real good class. Again, let's give him a big round of applause. Congratulations.
Next class is pair of ram lambs. Placing on the natural colored junior ram lamb class, first in open, first in junior show to entry 1956, Scotch Lane, 1019, Medicine Man, Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. That ram weighing 148. Second place to 1951, S&T 97, Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. That ram weighing 190. Third place to entry 1955, Huckowitz 2527, Scuzzbucket. Andrew and Emmy Huckowitz, Hadley, Massachusetts. That ram weighing 224. Fourth place to entry 1954, Fox Hollow Farm, Valletie, New York. Fifth place to 1949, Kara Jingalewski, Southwick, Massachusetts. Sixth place to entry 1957, Kara Jingalewski. Seventh place to 1950, Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. Eighth place to entry 1952, Fox Hollow Farm, Valletie, New York. And ninth, second in the junior show to 1958, Lucky Max 0003, 5 Dragons Valley Farm, Hadley, Massachusetts. Now ready to show for Open Show Champion and Reserve Champion Ram. In the pair Ram Lamb class, first place goes to Andrew and Amy Huckowitz, Hadley, Massachusetts. Second to Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. Third place, Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Fourth, Kara Jingalewski, Southwick, Massachusetts. And 5 to Fox Hollow Farm, Valentine, New York.
Well, ringside here in our natural colored show, let's put our hands together for these exhibitors as they come back out here for our champion and reserve lineup. I think 4 real high quality rams that offer a lot of good in terms of the breed. I think probably all 4 of them are probably going to be stud rams for these programs, and I think just an awfully nice group here. Our fall buck just has a lot of mass and volume to him with some fineness about his fleece. He'll be our champion today, and then maybe closes up just a nickel for reserve. The big buck that followed him has got a super nice fleece as well with some size and scale. I think our little lamb is just maybe just a nickel tidier on his wheels for us today. We're going to use that late lamb for reserve. Let's give him a big round of applause. Congratulations.
Our Open Show Champion Ram goes to 1946. Our first place Senior Ram Lamb, Little Oaks Livestock, 2525, Mariner. Andrew and Emmy Huckowitz, Hadley, Massachusetts. The Reserve Champion to 1956. Our first place Junior Ram Lamb, Scotch Lane, 1019, Medicine Man, Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. We now need to show for Junior Show Champion in Reserve. So we'll need that ram for Morgan Syme back out in the ring from the junior. We'll also need Morgan Syme's 1943 from the senior Ram Lamb class, and also 1958 from 5 Dragons Valley Farm.
ringside here. Let's put our hands together for these three youngsters as they come back out here for our junior show champion in reserve. The two the Super 4-Hers here with the late lamb are going to be our champion. I think this a really neat lamb here for us. And then I think it gets a little closer. That little late lamb over there next to him has got a really nice fleece. We're going to use Mr. Chuck there for that reserve. Let's give him a big round of applause. Congratulations.
For our junior show, champion ram goes to 1956 out of the junior ram class, Scotch Lane, 1019 Medicine Man, Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Our reserve junior show champion to 1958, Lucky Max 0003, 5 Dragons Valley Farm, Hadley, Massachusetts. Our next class is yearling ewes. here's the second natural colored trivia question. We mentioned that in 2005, 20 years ago, we had two different natural colored shows. We had a long wool show and a fine and medium. We asked the long wool question, but in the fine and medium show, who was the New England exhibitor that had the best fleece? Andrew got that right. It was Chris Hopkins of Rhode Island.
Boy, I tell you, just a tremendous set of females here in this yearling ewe drive of our natural coloreds. And again, some variations, some differences, some fleece differences, some body type differences, some movement differences, balance differences. There's a lot of differences. But a lot of good ones here and some big mama jamas here that are floating through here. I think a combination sheep on top of one that is just the square built one of maybe a couple of them that come in behind her. Huge hip and pin set in this female. She's sound when we put her into motion. She's got a little extra stoutness about her footwork. Not the favorite fleece. She's not the best fleece one. I'm not going to try to tell you that she is. There's a couple behind her that are probably just a nickel better there, but she's so good in terms of her top line. She's the best one as she lays into her shoulder and her breastplate. I think just an awfully neat one to lead off with. The next one closely follows her, just in type and kind. She's a little smaller package of our class winner, but again, super good in terms of her spine, super good in terms of her footwork, and then her hip and pin set, again, just tremendous there. And I think that's where she gets the nod over the big ewe that comes into third here. The big one is large. That is large Marge, no doubt about it. She's an awfully nice ewe as well. She's not quite as square as she comes back in through her hip and pin set as those first two ewes are, but she stands on a nice set of feet and legs, pretty decent in her fleece as well. I think that's an awfully nice female to come into third. Our fourth ewe maybe carrying just a nickel more condition than maybe a couple of them that get ahead of her. Maybe knocks her out, a front end out of balance, just a nickel, but she's got some stoutness about her. Again, she's got some rib and some body about her. When you get your hands on her, there's some depth and dimension. Maybe in terms of fleece structure, a little shorter staple, a little harder to read, maybe not quite as good in terms of fineness as we have in a couple of them here. And then we work into five here, one that gets a little finer in her feature. That's the best fleece one, though, that we have in this top five by a couple of clicks. A lot of fineness and very, very uniform from front to rear. If we could stouten her up, maybe just give her just a fuzz more fancy compared to a couple of them that get ahead of her, we could just continue to work her up just from a fleece standpoint. Really good set of sheep floating down here as well. Let's give them a big round of applause. Congratulations here.
Next class is pair of yearling ewes. Placing on the class of yearling ewes, first place goes to entry number 1968. Huckowitz, 2449. Andrew and Emmy Huckowitz, Hadley, Massachusetts. That ewe weighed 290. Second place to entry number 1973. Scotch Lane, 0950. Spicy. Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. That ewe was also first in the junior show, and she weighed 219. Third place to 1975, Kara Jingolowski, Southwick, Massachusetts. That ewe weighing 268. 4 to 1969, Becky Ridgway, Libertytown, Maryland. 5 to 1964, Fox Hollow Farm, Felicia, New York. Sixth place to 1970, Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. Seventh place, second in the junior show, to 1976, Scotch Lane, 0951, Black Pearl, Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. 8 to 1966, Andrew and Emmy Huckowitz, Hadley, Massachusetts. 9 to 1977, Emma Miner, Sanbornton, New Hampshire. 10th place to entry 1980, Chris Hopkins, Chepachet, Rhode Island. 11 to entry 1972, Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. 12th place to 1974, Kara Jingolowski, Southwick, Massachusetts. 13 to entry 1979, Emma Miner, Sanbornton, New Hampshire. 14 to 1967, Fox Hollow Farm, Valatia, New York. And 15, third in the junior show to 1981, Five Dragons Valley Farm, Chuck Dragon, Hadley, Massachusetts. Placing on the pair of yearling ewes, first place goes to Andrew and Emmy Huckowitz, Hadley, Massachusetts. Second, Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Third, Fox Hollow Farm, Lindsay Drum, Valatia, New York. 4, Emma Miner, Sanbornton, New Hampshire. 5th place to Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. And 6 to Kara Jingolowski, Southwick, Massachusetts. We're now ready for senior ewe lambs. Senior ewe lambs are your next class.
real nice class of senior ewe lambs here. Again, I think just very high end all the way through, and not a bad one or not a real problem here with any of them. Just the name of the game and get them sorted here. I think we lead off with a female that is awfully good, though. That one that has just a tremendous look about her, just a neat top line in her, and then in motion, she just trots around the ring like they're supposed to. She's got some elevation, some extension, some femininity, and some grow to her. And then you get into her fleece, and it's really a neat fleece. It's got a lot of character, just real uniform from front to rear. I think just an awfully nice female to lead off with. Our next one gets a little finer in her features compared to the ewes on either side of her, but that's a big-bodied, deep-ribbed one that you also get into her fleece, and it's tremendous as well. Very uniform, a lot of character, a lot of luster about it. She's got a nice big hip in her. She could be just a little stouter, like we said about her footwork, if you want to make her a little more ideal, but there's a lot of good in that female to go into second hole. The stout-footed one here in third, and that one has just got a little extra shot of bone, and I certainly appreciate that about her. She's also got a nice fleece. She's got some look and appeal to her, and she gets the nod of maybe just being just a tick longer, a little more massive than the ewe that comes into four. A real fancy one here in four, and maybe she's a little bit younger. She reads to be just a little bit greener and a little more immature, but another sound one with a good top shape. That one, as she continues to grow, I think it's going to just be an awfully nice sheep. And then round out the top five with one that you get into her fleece. Very soft about her fleece. Also a lot of character about her. Stands on a nice set of feet and legs. Not quite as fancy about her front end as we have in a couple of the ewes that get ahead of her, but really good class. Let's put our hands together. Congratulations.
Our next class will be for senior champion and reserve senior champion ewe. Placing on the senior ewe lamb class, first place and open first in the junior show to entry 1991, Scotch Lane 961, Bombshell, Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. That ewe weighed 202. Second place to 1989, Pines Inn Natural Colored 2453, Violet, Becky Ridgway, Libertytown, Maryland. That ewe weighed 218. Third to 1994, Fox Hollow Farm, Valatia, New York, Lindsay Drum. That ewe weighed 162. Fourth place, second in the junior show to 1996, Scotch Lane 979, Jungle Jane, Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Fifth place to 1992, Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. Sixth place to 1990, Becky Ridgway, Libertytown, Maryland. Seventh to 1995, Fox Hollow Farm, Valatia, New York, Lindsay Drum. And 8 to 1993, Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York.
Ringside here in the natural colors. Let's put our hands together for these four exhibitors as they come out here for our champion and reserve senior ewes. Really a nice set of females all the way through, and them yearling ewes and fall ewe lambs. I think very high end on these four. For me, there's a female here in that fall ewe lamb that is just about as good as we can make them structurally. You get into her fleece, and she's awfully good there as well. I like her rib, and again, very good in motion. She'll be our champion today. And then it gets a real close for reserve. That second fall ewe lamb comes out here with a little better fleece than our yearling ewe does. Yearling ewe's maybe just a little stouter footed, a little better in her hip. I'm going to use the yearling ewe today for reserve. Let's give them a big round of applause. Congratulations.
Open Show Senior Champion U goes to entry 1991 from the Senior U Lamb class, Scotch Lane, 961, Bombshell, Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. The Reserve Senior Champion U to 1968 out of the Yearling U class, Huckowitz, 2449, Andrew and Emmy Huckowitz, Hadley, Massachusetts. Now ready for Intermediate U Lambs. So, another trivia question. This is the 2010, 15 years ago, in the Fine Medium show. While Richard and Marianne Johnson of Quincy, Ohio, won nearly every class in that show, Abigail Races of Massachusetts and one other New England exhibitor were able to win 3 classes. Who was that other New Englander who won the Junior Ewe Lamb class? Well, the guesses has kind of slowed down, and I'll give you the answer. That other New Englander was Holly Town of New Hampshire.
Really a nice group here of intermediate ewe lambs. Again, I think this very high quality all the way through. Some fleeces are excellent here. I think we get a combination of a big-bodied ewe here with some dimension to her to lead off with. Very sound on her feet and legs, and just super square in terms of how she's built. I love her rib and just barrel and body today. I think just a female that offers some look and some appeal, and yet you get into her fleece, there's actually some character to it. There's some consistency to it. I think this an awfully nice one there to lead off with. The next one, the brown one, just a very intriguing color for one, and then you get into her fleece, a lot of fineness about her fleece. She's not as massive as that class winner, not quite as square in terms of her hip build, but she's sound on her feet and legs. She's got some look and some extension about her in terms of her femininity. I love that color. You part it, it gets dark down deep, and certainly some fineness and some consistency there. I think that's an awfully nice female. The next one, Fancy. That one is going to be really, really fun as she continues her life. Today she's not quite as just massive and deep and just mature there in her underline as maybe a couple of them that get ahead of her, but so sound on her feet and legs, and then you get your hands on her again, really good in terms of her spine. And she's also got a very nice fleece, very soft, and got some characters, maybe some Cordell character to it as it runs through there. I think this an awfully neat one there in third. A little more moderate type lamb here in 4. I like that one a bunch too. That one stands up on a nice set of feet and legs, nice set of toes, lays in her shoulder really nice, and moves around the ring with a lot of balance about her. She's not quite as whistle fronted and maybe as extended as those first 3 ewes are, but very, very high end one, I think, in 4. And then we round out one here that you get your hands on this one. A lot of dimension in this ewe. Got a little different type of fleece, but maybe a little more open, but it's very, very consistent. She's got some stoutness about her bone work. Good class. Let's put our hands together. Congratulations.
Our next class will be junior ewe lambs. Placing on the intermediate ewe lamb class for the natural colored show. First in the open, first in junior show, to entry 1999, Scotch Lane 982, Psycho Killer. Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. That ewe weighed 180. Second place to entry 2001, S&T 89, Maybe Tomorrow Farm, Kevin Hopkins, Chepachet, Rhode Island. That ewe weighed 150. Third, second in the junior show, to entry 1997, Scotch Lane 981, Saucy, Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. That ewe weighing 159. Fourth place to entry 2002, Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. Fifth place to entry 2003, Emma Minor, Sanbornton, New Hampshire. Sixth place to entry number 2006, Fox Hollow Farm, Galatia, New York. Seventh place to entry number 2000, Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. Eighth place to entry 2005, Kara Jingolowski, Southwick, Massachusetts. And ninth place to entry 2007, Fox Hollow Farm, Galatia, New York. And here is the final trivia question for the natural colored. In 2015, 10 years ago, who had Supreme Champion Ram over all breeds for week 2? And it is Andrew and Emmy Hekowitz of Hadley, Massachusetts, with a medium natural colored ram. Again, we want to thank our judge for this first half of Wool Week, Evan Snyder of Glen, Pennsylvania. Let's give Evan a nice round of applause for his work first half of Wool Week.
Really nice set of late lambs here. Again, some variations. And again, I think at the end of the day, they're all pretty nice as we get all the way down through there. And we've got a merino lamb on the end there that has got a great fleece about her. Maybe doesn't stay as square as a couple of them that get ahead of her, but just a really good group here. We got a big-bodied square one here to lead off with, one that's done some growing. She's got some rib to her. Again, get your hands on her, and her spine is extremely good in motion. She sets them where they're supposed to. Maybe just ding or just a nickel once in a while, wants to get just a fraction flexy on those front pasterns, but she's got some look and some style to her. Get into her fleece structure, and it's very uniform, again, with some character to it. I think just an awfully neat one. I think the next one pushes her pretty darn hard. I think that's an awfully nice lamb. She's a little bit more immature than our class winner, just in terms of when you get your hands on her top, in terms of her shape, but she's got a lot of good pieces about her. She's got a little extra stoutness about her bone. She runs the right way, and again, you get your hands on her, there's not a hole in her top. I just think she needs a little more time to get ahead of that one, but she's got a lot of good pieces. Getting her fleece is very, very soft, very neat fleece as it works from front to rear. I think that's a very high-end female to come into second. Our third one, one of the better fleece ones in the whole deal. That one is extremely good in terms of her fineness. Maybe just doesn't get as fancy as those first two that get ahead of her, but again, very sound with some rib about her. I think this is an awfully neat one there. The 1 and 4 comes to us, got a lot of nice pieces as well. She from the side doesn't balance into her front end quite as nicely as a couple of them do. Wants to get a little lower in her chest floor as we set her into motion, but get your hands on her again. She's good in her spine. She's got a real good 3/4 view about her with some stifle shape. She's up on her toes like they're supposed to be. And then a big extreme one here in our 5th hole. Gets just a little finer in her features in terms of her bone work. I'd like to just stouten her up if we could, but she's a good-looking sheep from the side in terms of profile, with a pretty nice fleece about her as well. Good class. Let's give them a big round of applause. Congratulations.
Placing on the Junior ewe lamb class, first place and open first in the junior show to entry 2012. Scotch Lane 1002 Hope, Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. That ewe weighed 162. Second place in junior, second place in open to 2017. Harris 0572 Connor Priest, Ludlow, Massachusetts. That ewe weighed 128. Third place to entry number 2013, Fox Hollow Farm, Lindsey Drum, Valatia, New York. That ewe weighed 117. Fourth place to 2014, Andrew and Emmy Huckowitz, Hadley, Massachusetts. Fifth place to entry 2021, Kara Jingoluski, Southwick, Massachusetts. Sixth to Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. Seventh place to 2016, Andrew and Emmy Huckowitz, Hadley, Massachusetts. Eighth place to 2009, Becky Ridgway, Libertytown, Maryland. Ninth place to 2010, Kara Jingoloski, Southwick, Massachusetts. 10th place to Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. 11 to 2015, Fox Hollow Farm, Lindsey Drum of Valatia, New York. And 12, third in the junior show, to entry 2008, 5 Dragons Valley Farm, Chuck Dragon, Hadley, Massachusetts. Placing on the pair of ewe lambs, first to Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Second, Becky Ridgway, Libertytown, Maryland. Third place, Andrew and Emmy Huckowitz, Hadley, Massachusetts. 4, Kara Jingolowski of Southwick, Massachusetts. 5, Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. And 6, Fox Hollow Farm, Valatia, New York. Now showing for Open Show Junior Champion and Reserve Junior Champion ewe.
Ringside here. Let's put our hands together for the 4 exhibitors for our Junior U Champion Drive here. I think really 4 exceptional ones here just in terms of show ring appeal and fleece structure. Very, very sound as we put them into motion here. For me, the early lamb here, just love her rib and body and just her top line, big hip in that female with some character about her fleece. She'll be our champion. And then I think it gets pretty close for reserve. I like that brown one over there. She's got some fineness working through her. She'll be our reserve, that second place to that early. Let's give him a big round of applause. Congratulations.
Junior Champion ewe goes to entry 1999 from the intermediate ewe lamb class, Scotch Lane 982, Psycho Killer, Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Our reserve junior champion to 2001, S&T 89, Maybe Tomorrow Farm, Kevin Hopkins, Chepachet, Rhode Island. Now ready to show for Grand and Reserve Grand Champion ewe.
We don't need to take a real long time here. I will say that the female show was a tremendous group of sheep. So let's give everybody a big round of applause here that showed some natural colors to us. I think just a good group. We get these 4 back out here. I like them a whole bunch. We're going to tie into both of those seniors today for that champion and reserve. We'll let those juniors fight it out next year. Let's give them a big round of applause. Congratulations here.
Teresa, stay in the ring. We've got to do a junior. Grand Champion ewe goes to 1991, our Senior Champion ewe out of the Senior ewe lamb class, Scotch Lane 961, Bombshell, Morgensheim, South Windsor, Connecticut. The reserve grand champion to 1968, our reserve senior champion out of the yearling U class, Huckowitz, 2449, Andrew and Emmy Huckowitz, Hadley, Massachusetts. Now showing for our junior show champion and reserve junior show champion U. Our junior show champion U was also our grand champion U, 1991. Scotch Lane 961 Bombshell, Morgensheim, South Windsor, Connecticut. Our reserve junior show champion is 1999 out of the intermediate ULAM class. Scotch Lane 982 Psycho Killer, Morgensheim, South Windsor, Connecticut. For the Natural Colored Show, we're now ready for Exhibitor's Flock. Placing on the exhibitors flock, first to Andrew and Emmy Huckowitz, Hadley, Massachusetts. Second, Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Third place, Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. 4, Fox Hollow Farm, Lindsay Drum, Valatia, New York. And 5 to Kara Jingolowski, Southwick, Massachusetts. Now ready for breeders' flock. Our next class will be Get of Sire. Placing on the breeders' flock, first place goes to Andrew and Emmy Huckowitz, Hadley, Massachusetts. Second, Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Third place, Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. And 4 to Kara Jingolowski of Southwick, Massachusetts. We do have a correction on that class. First place went to Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Second place to Andrew and Emmy Huckowitz. Now ready for Get of Sire. After the Get of Sire class, our next class will be Best Fleeced Natural Colored Animal. Placing on the Get of Sire class, first place to Morgan Syme, South Windsor, Connecticut. Second to Schwartz and Tully, Hunt, New York. And third to Kara Jingolowski of Southwick, Massachusetts. Again, now ready for Best Fleeced. The best fleeced animal for our natural colored show is entry number 1991, our junior show champion, our grand champion ewe out of the senior ewe lamb class, Scotch Lane 961, Bombshell, Morgan Symes, South Windsor, Connecticut. And our premier exhibitor and premier breeder both go to Morgan Symes, South Windsor, Connecticut.